Hey there everyone! I've just recently updated all of my Star Wars panels, so now when you go to download the files, you have the ability to print most of the parts and the lights and the knobs all separately. This makes things so much easier to paint and put together.
And all of these updated panels will be on my new Etsy store.
But don't worry, I'll still have some free versions available on Printables.com if you want to print everything in one go instead of all separate parts. I'll leave it completely up to you. So today, we're going to work on a panel together. And with Andor Season 2 just finishing up, I couldn't think of a better project to work on than the Droid Access panel. Spin that sucker! Let's do this. Oh, and stay tuned to the end of the video for a special giveaway.
Alrighty, here's all the 3D printed parts. I tried to design everything so nothing's too tight. Everything fits nicely. They require a little bit of sanding, if that. Go down there. Other frame. Now these are cut from Perspex acrylic sheeting with laser cutter, but the files are there if you want to print them. I'm going to start by giving the 3D prints a little bit of a sand, just to smooth out the edges and stuff, so there's nothing sharp. So I didn't go too crazy, just pretty much a light sand just to get rid of the rough edges and rough surfaces. And I'm going to go over it with Septone plastic primer filler. This stuff works awesome. You can literally spray a bit too much on it at times and it'll just dry flat and even. So, but we're going to do light coats at a time. A little bit of sanding in between, but not much. And see how we go. Sometimes I find it'll pool up a little bit over the 3D print lines, and then it should dry flat for the most part. You have to hit it again after you sand it a little bit. So I've just let the primer dry overnight, and I'll just give it a bit of a light sanding just to get rid of some of the rougher edges and see how we go. And that's the same brand, Septone brand. I'm sure you can get other brands of this. It's called Blade Putty. Quick drying, easy sanding. It does dry really fast. Trying to use little bits. Just where you think it needs it. And when it dries, we'll sand it again. So if you find over time your blade putty is getting a bit thick, you can actually add a little bit of methylated spirits to it, and that'll just keep it some moisture in there. Just a tiny little bit, just to cover the top. That's all you need. And just put the lid on it, and it should be good to go for next time. Okay, so the sanding's complete for the most part. I used 120 grit, by the way. And I'm going to go over it now with some fine steel wool. This is quadruple zero, so I don't think it gets finer than that. And we'll see how we go with smoothing it out a little bit more. Then I'll give it another top coat really lightly with the plastic primer filler. See, that's all I've got left. So all that fine little flakes have got to go somewhere, like up my nose. Just wear a mask. Now it's time for the light coat. of plastic primer filler again. Now that's looking really smooth, but of course you can go ahead with a bit more blade putty in certain areas and more priming and sanding if you want to, but I think that looks pretty gunda. So before I start the painting, I just want to explain a bit on how the bearing works. So originally, the main frame of the panel, I have this little peg here that the bearing fits into, and just snaps down so it'll spin on you. But if you break it off, it's kind of hard to replace that once that happens. So instead, just imagine, this is a test print, imagine that is that now. So it said they're both the same. And instead, the little key inside, called the bearing key, will pull out. So if you use a bit of double-sided tape or maybe a little tiny bit of super glue, something that doesn't stick very well with PLA plastic. And then once that's in there, and you put the bearing in place, if that snaps off in the future, at least you can reprint, try to break that out and reprint the little key and put it back in there. So not only did I redesign these panels so you can put, you know, your choice of 3D printed clear lenses in there or cut them out of Perspex acrylic sheeting, I've also made it so, of course, with most of the panels that I've redone, is you can paint the parts really easily before assembling everything. Makes it a heck of a lot better. And also with each part, I've designed it so they fit in with a little bit of looseness to it to make up for the paint. Best I could anyway. It just makes the whole process a lot easier. So I've come up with 4 main colors and I'm going to paint the panel all up. So with all these undercoats being black, we'll just make the metallic paints just pop out a bit better. Now for the final paint colors, we got gold leaf for the little spinny bit, and the outer little spinny bit, gunmetal. And then for the framey little bits there, we've got flat aluminum. And for the frame itself, we've got a dark little bluey, blacky, gray color, sea blue. So that should look pretty cool when it's done. I first saw this panel on the internet while they were filming Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And it looked really cool and I wanted to recreate it. I don't think it ever made Episode 8, but in Andor Season 1, while they were robbing the vault for the Imperial credits, you can see it there. And just recently I was watching Andor Season 2, Episode 9, and it featured there as well. It looks really cool there. And I just recently updated the files, so when you download the Droid Access panel from my Etsy store, you won't only just be able to download this version, you'll also be able to download the version that's in Andor Season 2. So the outer ring of here will be removed, and so you'll be able to see the red LEDs in certain places around the rim here. So there'll be 5mm holes around, so you can put 5mm LED bulbs in there, just to give it that Andor look.
So as you can see, I've made 2 of them, so I'd like to give one of them away. So if you're happy to pay shipping, all you have to do is like, subscribe, comment, and my dog will decide which comment she likes the best, right? Yeah.
What's wrong with this guy?
Exterminate!